just so we don't miss anything. Okay.
Okay, so this is a little history of the connection between Edgewood Campus School and St. Teresa of the Little Flower School in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. So the connection began in 1989 when this sister, Sister Helen Van Deho, was just a young sister, and she came to the United States to get a college education. And she came to the United States in January with no boots, no coat, not having any idea what that white stuff out there was or why the trees were so bare, thinking that they were all dead and should be torn down. And at the time, Sister Kathleen Malone lived at Blessed Sacrament Convent. Right next to Blessed Sacrament, there was a convent at the time, and it housed many sisters over the years when they lived in community. So Sister Helen came and was looking for a place to live, and Sister Kathleen arranged for Sister Helen to live at Blessed Sacrament Convent, and Edgewood College agreed to give Sister Helen free tuition so that she could attend Edgewood College. So she took education courses at that time and business courses and got her bachelor's degree at Edgewood College. And during the 4 years that she was there, 1989 was my first year at Edgewood Campus School. Sister Kathleen was principal at the time, her first time around, from 1983 to 1989. And so I got to know Sister Helen because I was working in the office, and I had a big Suburban, and so Sister Helen's dream was to bring other young sisters from Tanzania to the United States to study and get degrees with the hope that then they would go back to Africa and do great things. So that started happening right away. Sister Helen found schools in Milwaukee, Alverno, and in other parts of the states where sisters could come and get their education for free. And so every once in a while we would go on an African safari with my big Suburban, and we would go down to Chicago and pick up these sisters, buying coats, buying boots, buying school supplies, buy them everything they needed, food, so that they could attend college and get their degrees. So that's how it started, and for a couple of years we just really financed, she and I basically financed those small expenses. But then when it
Remember how poor sisters are.
Yeah. So then when it got to be evident that these sisters were going to graduate and go back to Tanzania and do something, we started giving them more money so that they could build a school. So one of the sisters that graduated, Sister Berga, who graduated from Alverno in about 1995, went back to Africa and decided that with the help of the order, they would start building a school. Now, when I talk about building a school, I mean building a school from the mud that they gathered to make the bricks, to carrying the bricks, to put them down and cement. So they started that way, and the school was all, at the very beginning, the school was all open air. Yeah. All open air, had no windows.
This was the beginning.
And so the outdoors came in. But they managed to open the school with no supplies and have about 45 students their first year. So at that time, Sister Kathleen decided that we would start raising money for them every year by doing this Tanzania walk. And we started doing that in about 1995, and we've been doing it ever since.
Here's their beginning.
So that's like 22 years now we've been raising money for Tanzania. And every year we would raise anywhere between $2,500 and $5,000 for them. So as you can see, over the years we have contributed a tremendous amount of money to that school. And today, there are 750 students at that school, from 4 years old all the way to high school. So, in 2009, when Sister Kathleen was principal here for the second time, Sister Helen Bandy Ho, by that time, had gotten her master's degree at Duke University in Pennsylvania, and she didn't have 10 sisters come to the United States to study. She had about, over the years, 30 sisters come to the United States and study. And we did many trips back and forth to O'Hare with the caravan, the Suburban, on an African safari, picking up these sisters, taking them shopping, making sure that they had clothes and school supplies and everything. So in 2009, they wanted us before we got too old. And let me tell you, traveling to Africa is not that easy. Before we got too old, they wanted us to come to the school and see what they had done. So we did. We went and we left on the 4th of July and we stayed for 3 weeks. So this is what was waiting for us at the airport when we got there. This group of people, students and parents and some teachers that greeted us at the airport and rolled out the red carpet for us, let me tell you. The kids all speak English. They took us to the school first. Well, our luggage didn't get there, so that was one thing. So luckily they gave us several African dresses like this to wear while we were there, and our luggage showed up 3 days later. But the school is in a major city, Dar es Salaam, which is the capital of Tanzania, and so it's very busy. It has roundabouts, just like we do in the United States. Lots of traffic, no traffic lights. But everything that is sold on the street. So your food, your shoes, everything. These are some more pictures of the very beginning of the school. You showed them though. Everything that is sold on the street. So kente cloths, those are some of the beautiful. They raise their money by. They might sell bananas off
This
the
is
back
how
of a
they,
bicycle.
sell
Or
stuff.
they might make
Oh,
their own
shoes.
cloths,
And they have to dig for
like
the
these
pair.
kente cloths and sell them. Or they
Kinda like
might
an open-air
make
market.
these things out of bamboo, which you probably have seen sometimes in the showcase. I have some in my office that have writing on them, made out of bamboo. Let's see, go to the next one. The next one. There's more cloth.
I think all of those are, that was the end of the,
That was the end of it? Oh, really? Oh, too bad. Well, you guys should scan some of
that's
that.
why we want.
You should
Are there more
scan some
pictures
of these.
after? Oh yeah, oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, I see, they skipped through those, I would write out too much.
Okay, so they gave us a lot of dresses like this.
Thank you.
So this is one of the other sisters that was studying in the United States and finished her degree and went back, and she was going to pharmacy school at the time, but she was in Africa when we were there. And when we got there, they had planted hedges, little flowers in the walkway to say Edgewood Campus School, to thank us for all of the years that we contributed money to them. We actually helped them purchase their first copy machine, their first computer, all the library books that they had in their library, supplies for the classroom. These are the computers that they were using in 2009. They were all of our rejects, by then we were using bigger and better. There's the copy machine. It says Edgewood Campus School right here because we donated to them. This is Sister Berga. But you can see here, at least in her office, she had windows and maybe air conditioning, I'm not sure. But the rest of the school was all open. So when it rained, the rain would come very close. The computer room was the only room that had a carpet. All the rest of them were cement floors and cement walls, except for the foundation, which was that stone that I was telling you
Open
about.
air.
Yeah, open air school. So you can see here some pictures when you get a chance to look. The day that we visited the school, the kids all put on a program for us, and they sang and they danced and they did gymnastics and they did little plays, one-on-one plays. They wear uniforms, and like I say, they start at 4 years old and they go through high school now. Now, the big thing in Tanzania is you can't go to school, whether it's a public school or a private school, you can't go to school unless you have one of these uniforms. So your parents have to somehow either make you a uniform or get money to buy you a uniform. That's the only way that you can go to school. And I'm not kidding when I tell you that some of these kids walked 5-10 miles. Some of them walked 2 hours to school and back from school. And luckily these kids here were able to all get uniforms. Their parents, the school did provide a little bit of financial aid and we helped with that too, but the tuition was very cheap. The big thing was the uniforms. And so sisters and other adults taught in the school and are still do to this day, and like I say, it goes up to grade 16. So the year that we were there, in 2009, actually they were starting to put an addition onto the school. But here you can see some really cool pictures of some of the things that they did for us, the singing and the dancing and the gymnastics. They played drums for us. Yeah. We visited every classroom, and they all, as soon as you walk in the classroom, hello, Miss Joyce, hello, Sister Kathleen, welcome, and they would sing us a song. Music is such a huge part of their culture. They sing and dance for everything. The African sisters that lived at the convent would sing just all the time. I will never forget the one day that I went to the convent to see her, and Sister Kathleen opened the door, and I went into the front door and thought that somebody had died and the body had gone bad in that building because the smell was so repulsive. And so I said, what's going on here? I think there's something dead in there, you know. And here they had just received a package from Tanzania, and it was a delicacy, the most important thing in their culture to eat, and it is grasshoppers, fried grasshoppers. And it is the most revolting smelling thing you could ever imagine, and I didn't eat it. Now, this bucket right here is how they prepare their lunch outside. With the bucket, and they cook their food out there, and then they get their lunch. And they do get lunch at school every day. So this is how they wash the dishes with those bins there filled with warm water. And life is pretty hard for them there. But there's a lot of problems with, I don't know if you heard, but in the last year they had a terrible earthquake in Tanzania, and so they're still trying to recover from that. The government isn't much help, and these are the bricks that I was telling you that they laid one by one. And this is what the school looked like in 2009 when we were there, but they were adding another wing to it. And they've done quite well, but without our help of over, I don't know, $200,000, close to $200,000 over the year, I don't think that they would be where they are. So when we were in Tanzania, we also got to go on a safari, which was a pretty exciting thing. We visited the Serengeti and we have some pictures in here about that. We also went up to the mother house of the Sisters of St. Teresa, and that mother house was in a little town called Bukoba, Bukoba. And one of the sisters' parents was celebrating a 50th wedding anniversary in her village. So our guide was Sister Helen's brother, who was a priest, and he had an SUV, a Jeep, that could go up on, I mean, we're talking...
Went right up the hill.
That's up the side of the mountain to where we had this party. So there's some pictures in here about the party. But I think the thing that was the hardest for me, well, you can go out in the backyard and pick papaya and pick avocados, oh my gosh, avocados right off the tree and eat. But the thing that struck me the most about the people in Tanzania was that they are a happy people. You know, they laugh and they smile, and everything is a celebration, and they bring out food, even though they don't have a lot of food. They bring out everything that they have. The whole village came for this party, and we sat on blankets in the backyard, and big buckets of food, and the kids just came and ate their food, and we sat on the ground and ate the food with them. I mean, it was just pretty amazing. So, yes, you have a question?
Yeah. So, do they bring their own lunches every day?
No, they get fed lunch. They have parents that come and make the food in these big buckets, and they have what they either eat outside and sit on the rocks, or they have some tables set up in a lunchroom like we do, but nothing like ours. Yeah.
Was the school affected in the earthquake? Did it break or
Not the school in Dar es Salaam, not in the city, but the mother house that was in Bukoba that we went to go see, that was really badly damaged. And there were a lot of old sisters that lived in that mother house, and so they sent us pictures of them carrying out the old sisters on cloth, like you see in, I don't know if you know the program,
like
MASH.
blanket, right?
Yeah, blankets, carrying them out, and put them on the ground. That's all you could do until the earthquake passed. But they're still trying to recover from that earthquake, and they did have a big fundraiser this past week. That Sister Helen actually was in charge of to raise money to help rebuild that mother house. Sister Helen, so she got her bachelor's degree at Edgewood College. She got her master's degree at Duke University, and now she is a very high-ranking administrator at St. Thomas Aquinas College in Bukoba, and she also holds a leadership position in the Sisters organization, and so she's in charge of fundraising. But she's much older now. I would say she's probably, in her late 50s, close to 60 now. But she works so hard and has so much energy. And the order of sisters is growing, because that's almost the only way a girl can get a good education in Tanzania is if your parents are extremely wealthy. You'll get maybe a high school education, but very few girls get to go on to college unless you become a sister, and then you get educated. And so a lot of them do that, and they get their education that way. But then they have to work a very long, hard life. They teach skills to the girls there a lot different than we do here. I mean, they have reading, writing, and arithmetic, and I'm sure they're teaching algebra now. I don't know if they're teaching other languages, because they do teach English. That's one language that you have to learn, and you have to learn Swahili. Swahili is the national language of Africa. Although every village has their own dialect of Africans that they talk, the whole country knows Swahili, and a lot of people now know English. So they're very fluent and easy to understand, and hardworking, but they also learn how, the girls learn how to sew, so that they can make uniforms for other people.
We had another sister that helped work on getting things for those sisters after we were gone. But she got sewing machines, and they really, really appreciated it because, well, they were the treadle kind. You have to
Because there's
move
not
your feet
electricity
because
around.
there's no electricity.
And internet, forget about it. I mean, I was able to connect to internet when we were there in 2009. Maybe once a week we would go to an internet cafe or something, but they don't have internet everywhere. Now that's probably changed since 2009, but and now you'll see that everybody does carry cell phones, so I'm sure that they have access to internet a lot more than what they used to. But yeah, so they all learn how to sew, and that's ways, again, for women to be able to earn a living, to be independent, not dependent on a man. That's the big thing that these sisters are trying to teach these young girls. Do not be dependent on men for what you need, because AIDS is the biggest killer in Africa. A lot of children, we went to an area where there were a lot of orphans because parents died of AIDS, and they don't even know they have it. The dads get it, and then they give it to the wife, and then the kids get it, and they die in alarming numbers. And when you say, well, what did they die of? We don't know, but 9 times out of 10 it was AIDS. So education there, they feel that education is the only way that they are going to survive. And so Edgewood Campus School, I know I do it, and I know Sister Kathleen Edgewood Campus School should feel very proud that we have helped keep so many of these kids in school, out of poverty, and as future leaders, because they're going to need future leaders to keep them prosperous. What were you going to?
I forgot. I was just thinking about this.
So the kids are so cute. Is that all the pictures that we have? Yeah.
Is Edgewood the only school, or is this the only school that helps them?
As far as I know, it is, yes. Yes.
Going forward, as we continue to raise funds and make the connection, what sorts of things they have in mind for the future, as far as just continuing to support their school or building more, or?
I think that last year they were looking to buy some buses, so I don't know if they ever completed that portion or not. And I'm sure that internet is a big thing, and I'm sure that technology is a big thing. Textbooks, teaching supplies, see banners like this, posters like this, nothing like that. I mean, the teachers did what Miss Jensen did right here. They made all of their bulletin boards, they make all of their posters, they make so much of their teaching supplies. I mean, they've got one copier for 750 kids, so the teachers still using the mimeograph machine while they were there. Wow.
So, how you said you donated the computers?
Mhm.
Did you just send them over or something?
We did. We shipped them over in a boxcar. We got help with that through the Rotary. Rotary Association had some connection with some railroad boxcars, and you have to be careful about what you send there, though, because there are dishonest people sometimes in the post office or in the shipping areas, and if a package comes to somebody, especially in an envelope with money, they'll never see it because it'll get stolen. That part is very sad, yes.
Have they added more classrooms?
Yes, they have added a whole new wing since we were there. So that's when they went from 8th grade to high school. And so, and they were talking about even becoming a boarding school at some point. So I don't know if that will happen or not. Now, the sister that was the principal when we were there, and who actually started the school, she left there this year, and now she is in Rome studying because she is going to be, and she must be 50 or 55. I mean, they don't ever get to retire. You know, 50 or 55, and she's going to take some big leadership role in the organization, the sisters organization too. So, and they're fighting over there for equality for women all of the time, and equality in the church, and they're not quiet, but you know, they don't stir up trouble either, but they're not quiet. So, I mean, knowing this sister here changed my life. I know it changed her life. And we still to this day communicate frequently, and she has other people at Madison that when she was here during those years, she cultivated friendships with other people, and at least 3 people send us money that then goes directly to Sister Helen, and I just put it through our books and wire it over there as a favor to them, because that's the best way to make sure that they don't lose money on the on changing it from American money to African money. It goes right into their account at a full value, so that's the safest way to do it. When you go over there with dollars, and you, just like when you go to Europe, you know, you have to change your money into euros. Well, over there you change it into African money. You lose a lot right off the top. So if the money goes right into their account, they get the most value for it. And every penny makes a difference. Don't let yourself think that if we only send them, you know, a few $100s, it doesn't make a difference. A couple $100 over there is like a year's salary to some of the people that live there. And they find the most amazing ways to make a living. You know, a lot of them ride bicycles, and on the back of the bikes you'll see bricks that they made that they're selling, or bananas that they grew, or other kinds of fruits and vegetables that they grow, and they will ride all over the place, you know, selling that stuff in order to get enough money for their families.
This was wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank
We'd be happy to leave the books for a while, if you want to take them to the classrooms and show them. I'm afraid Sister Kathleen has more pictures of hippos in here than anything else. But there's some pictures of our safari, some pictures of the village that we went to for the party. And the picture that I'll never get out of my head is this picture.
Yeah, I showed them
Yeah.
around here.
The picture of the shoes. So they don't go to Payless or, you know, Shopko to buy shoes. A big truck comes in from China, actually, and an entrepreneur, a young man or a young woman, will pay for that truckload of shoes, and it'll get dumped right there on the street. So he has to have somebody there day and night watching and selling those shoes so that they don't just disappear. And that's how most of the people get their shoes. But these are pictures of them dancing all the time. Lots of crocodiles around, lots of beautiful Lake Victoria, which I can't tell you how beautiful it is. They all wear these beautiful cloths wrapped around their bodies, and two of these people already are dead. The life expectancy there is not what it is in the United States. People don't live. Malaria kills them. You know, we cure malaria with no problem at all, but they don't even know what it is. So you can see some of the buildings that are really beautifully decorated, and then some of the buildings that are just cement.
Those are like the ones that were when the what tornado was.
Or the
Whatever that
hurricane came through. Oh no, the earthquake. The earthquake came through. Some of those cement buildings were destroyed. But this right here is a shack that somebody lives in, and it's just made with mud and straw. And you can watch them building a home for themselves. This was another school that we visited that had purple uniforms, and they actually had a nice playground. These are avocados. Oh my gosh.
so hard to imagine how beautiful they were. This is Sister Helen's parents' house. They were not alive at the time, but they were actually buried in the backyard. Yeah, right in their backyard. And you have to sleep under a net like this because the mosquitoes are the way that you get malaria. So here we are at the big 50th wedding anniversary party with all of the kids from the village, and there we are sitting out, on the mat.
When we went up there to that, it was just a huge hill.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the priest who had a car shot right up the hill.
Went off the road and just right up the hill.
There was no road, nothing. We just went shooting up this hill.
And the other thing I remember about that was there was no indoor plumbing.
That's right.
So the bathrooms were outhouses. Needless to say, I did not go to the bathroom that day.
What about at the school? Are there
The school has real bathrooms, running water. A lot of the places in the city, including restaurants, though, just have a hole in the ground, and that's your bathroom. Oh boy. We stayed at convents, and we also stayed at hostels. And one night we stayed at a beautiful, the most beautiful hotel. And at that time, there were very few and far between hotels. It's becoming more of a tourist place now. But that hotel actually had a pool, so I got in the pool. It was heavenly. These are their desks in the classroom. We went to visit the bishop. Look at those beautiful dresses that we got. So, yeah, if you get a chance, look at the pictures. It's pretty incredible. The sisters take care of all of the farm animals. I mean, they go out and feed all of the farm animals, and they hang no washers and dryers here. They clean their clothes, out in the backyard and hang them up on a fence. So, and this is the priest that drove us around. When we went to the Serengeti, we had an actual guide, so that's how we got to
What
see.
are those? What's that animal there? What are those mean ones from Lion King?
The hyenas, yeah. And here's the other one from the warthog, yeah. And here's a cougar up here with an elk in the tree.
Wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, here he is. Look it up here at the top. I think that's an eagle.
Thank you so much.
Oh, this was story.
Yeah.
So I came over so we could sing to her, but that's okay. It's okay.
So leadership reps?
We'd be happy to do. I mean, we can come back anytime and give you a talk. I have more, actually, more things that I could bring that show the.
This was phenomenal. I learned so much. Yeah.
And we were both using our cameras very well.
We have activities planned for you.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun
Good job, Josh.
So let's pray for good weather. They pray for us all the time
That
too.
lasts the whole day.
And
On Thursday?
That's the day of
we had a flat tire at
That's
Serengeti.
sneaker for science.
They had to change the
We're doing
tire
something
there.
for the eighth graders.
And look at all the hippos.
Oh,
the hippos.
Yes.
wait, so on Thursday we have our social studies test, but on Wednesday it's a fun day of activities.
So this is
Never mind the 8th graders are inside.
what was the name of the?
Oh, yay. I have a garage. Of the mountain.
Yeah.
Is it a volcano?
Yes.
But yeah, next week we will meet.
And I can't think of the
Probably
name of it
Wednesday,
right
because we
now.
won't be
I
able
have
to
to look in my notes. Kilimanjaro. Oh, this is Mount Kilimanjaro.
I've heard
Right
about
here.
it. Isn't that the tallest peak in Africa?
Yes, it is, and we got that picture from the airplane, actually. Yes. Look at
How long
all the hippos.
From here, did you have a layover?
Yeah, we went through Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, which was scary. That's a whole other story. But it took 24 hours, and like I say, we didn't get our luggage. But
Yeah.
these are
They
some more
took
pictures
our passports also.
Could we store these?
Yes, you can scan them, do whatever you want with them, and give them back to us in a couple weeks, or that would be fine.
Yeah, do you mind if I take them with me? So I can
Take them with you, yeah, yeah.
And then we'll
And
make sure
so-
that they come to the presentations that the kids do when they go around.
Okay, we'll do a showcase with some of our artifacts, you know.
I don't want to say art.
It's not, yeah,
Memorabilia.
some of our souvenirs.
Souvenirs,
Some
there
of
you
our
go.
souvenirs, so that the kids will be able to see that.
Oh, this
And
is
some pictures
wonderful.
up too, so, yeah. So,
Josh,
Great,
you get
thank
that?
you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now you have a lot of knowledge now.
We needed the full 45 minutes.